Greetings and great things. We are back. It is Q Talks, and this is yet another episode of the Black Swan Theory podcast. So, first of all, I want to start by thanking everyone for the recent likes, comments, views, and I just want to encourage you to keep engaging with this community because I have created it as a safe space for you to be seen and to be heard, which means any of your comments I will read, I will respond. Also, share it with people in your life that you think will relate to the content or benefit from the content, right? So I wanted to start off by saying that because, this community would not exist without you guys. And as it's growing and growing, I'm just getting so excited for where it's going to take all of us. Today's episode, we are talking about how your energy shapes your reality, right? As always, I have some notes that I'm referring to. These time the notes are on my phone, so you can see the reflection of my phone in my glasses. But yeah, that is the topic of today's episode. So, to propose an initial question, what if the energy that you bring in your life is influencing your reality and the way you're experiencing your reality in more ways than you realize? So, this is when we're talking about the energy that you bring into your life, right? Energy isn't just like, whoo, this, we're talking about your mindset, your emotional state, your feelings, right? Your thoughts, what you pay attention to, your behavior. All of these things can represent your energy or sorry, I ran out of storage, but back to where I was at. So all of these individual things can represent your energy or make up your overall energy, right? And when I look up energy, the definition of energy, it says in physics, energy is the capacity of a physical system to do work or cause a change. And then below that, it says again, like the summarized, simple definition of energy is the ability to do work or cause a change, which is quite interesting because I don't think when we talk about energy in like the spiritual sense, we ever relate it to that. But essentially, that is what energy is, right? So when you realize this, then you understand that what you focus on grows, right? So when I say that, it's just the age old thing, and it's really present in the etymology, in the language that we use, right? In the English language. When we say pay attention, right? To pay is to give out, right? What you pay attention to, you feed it. You subscribe to it, right? With your paid attention. And that is what in turn grows, develops, right? Do you walk around paying attention to things that you enjoy or things that you despise? Do you focus on doubt, worrying, fear, or do you operate and focus on think about love, possibility, opportunities? Because whatever it is that we focus our attention on, it does grow, right? This is something that I have spent a lot of time observing within myself, being skeptical of, doing my own observations. And if you guys want another video about this whole concept of what you focus on, creating your own reality, your mind over matter, as above, so below. Um, law of attraction, these type of things. If you guys want me to dive deeper or talk more about it, leave a comment below, leave your questions below, and we can get into it. Because as I said, I have personally studied myself for a long time. I've asked myself, well, if I'm thinking like this or being like this, then why am I attracting this? And it's a very layered conversation, which is can be different for everybody because we all have different life experiences and different feelings and thoughts and energies, right? But ultimately, to reiterate what you repeatedly being the key word here, give your energy to shapes what you notice in your reality. Okay? Your internal state also affects how you experience the world. So when we think about energy, I think this is what we think of, like your own, where you're at, your energy, your mood, right? Your vibe. This is evident because two people can experience the same situation completely differently, dependent on their internal energy, their internal vibe. Sorry for the lighting change, guys. The sun is like coming in and out, and I already have one piece of lighting here, so it's kind of like they're kind of fighting each other right now. This is a perfect example which I can even apply to myself, right? Let's take a common animal that we know people have fears of or phobias. So spiders, a spider or a snake. If there was a spider or a snake in your path, right? And you were with your friend, you might experience fear, you being me, for the spider, not for the snake. You might experience a sense of fear, a sense of disgust, wanting to move away from it, being horrified, you know, anxiety, these things. Your friend, with the same exact scenarios, you with the same thing in their path, could experience delight, excitement, fascination, wanting to move closer to it. Why? Because of their association with it and because of their energy in relation to this, right? So it doesn't mean one of you has better energy or worse energy. It's relevant to your internal state and your internal um idea of this animal. Now that's quite a like basic example and specific. But then if you just take that into general life and reality, right? Two people can be in a store, or one person can be experiencing the store as if everybody in the store is being rude to them, judging them, and the other person can just experience it as if they're having a nice, relaxed shopping time. They're not even paying attention to the other people that are there. And this is another example of your internal state, right? We have been in scenarios where we have interpreted something different than another person who was in that same scenario. Okay, so changing your reality, this shows us that when you want to change your reality, it doesn't always begin outside of you. A lot of the work happens inside, and it's not easy, but a lot of it happens with changing the state that you're experiencing it from, changing from a state of fear or anxiety to a state of calm, to a state of openness. Being non-judgmental and open-minded is like, which is kind of like a neutral energy. It's not like being overly excited, and it's not being like overly negative or disappointed. It's like a neutral energy. That's one of the best states that you can be in, especially if you want to affect your reality. I can go further into that, but again, you have to let me know if you want a video on that or not. The energy that you bring to every circumstance, situation, conversation, everything, right? It affects what you create, it affects what occurs and what you get out of it, what comes out of it. So when you think about relationships, opportunities, creativity, work, boundaries, right? If you constantly are at a place where you expect things not to work out, you expect to be rejected, you expect to be treated less than what you deserve, then you might, because of your energy, withdraw before connection even has a chance, before the other side even has a chance, right? And this has a lot to do with your own state. Whereas if you believe you deserve better, if you believe everything is going to work out for you, you believe you deserve the best, you're open to receiving the best, then you would make slightly different choices or you would interact with things differently. This is why a lot of spiritual or highly consciously aware, highly intellectual people may observe other people who they deem to be less intellectual than them, less conscious or spiritually aware than them, having easier, more affirming experiences. Why? Because it goes back to that age old saying, ignorance is bliss, because it is. Because if you are ignorant to negative thoughts, negative ideas, to too many thoughts that make you wonder if things can work out for you or not, you're more likely to just be open, and you're more likely to believe automatically that things will work out. And a lot of people that haven't been through intense, like traumatic experience, or like a lot of spiritual, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of stuff, yeah? A lot of people that haven't been through too much stuff don't have too much backlog that makes them think negatively. They automatically tend to think positively, and that is what manifests. And that is a very clear example, especially if you yourself have been wondering why you're observing people having this experience, but you are not having that experience yourself. Your energy doesn't magically control everything that happens to you, but it definitely influences it, right? And it influences what you tolerate, what you pursue, and how you respond. So I always want to invite you guys and remind you guys of your power here. As a black swan, right? You are rare, you are aware. Never forget that. So when you become intentional about what you're carrying, intentional about your energy, you become very powerful and influential to your own reality. When you ask yourself questions like, what am I consuming? What am I taking in? Who am I surrounding myself with? What are the thoughts that I keep rehearsing and repeating in my head? What do I tell myself on a daily, weekly, monthly, hourly basis? What is the energy that I bring into my relationships, right? When you ask yourselves questions like this and you make the answers to those questions important, you don't force yourself to answer the questions. You give yourself time to reflect and to get the real answer. Even if that answer isn't something that you like, you be real with yourself about the truth, right? Then you start to understand that no, you can't necessarily control everything that happens around you, but you definitely can be intentional about how you respond to it and how you carry it, right? Because we have a choice in whether or not we carry everything. Shout out to Erica Badu, bag lady. If you know, you know. Don't be that bag lady or bag man carrying 1,000 bags, right? Because it'll slow you down. It'll slow you down. And yes, that's pretty much it, guys. To round this off for you, I've written here that the black swan, right, is not about controlling reality. And being a black swan, realizing you're a black swan, isn't about controlling reality. It's about being conscious of the reality that you're participating in creating, because you are actively participating in creating reality for not only yourself, but those around you. And the more you become aware of that and you take responsibility for it and you observe and manage it, the more that you can see the results of this, of being more aware of your energy and managing it accordingly. So, I have a question for you. If you could change one thing about the energy that you're currently bringing into your life, what would that be? Comment it below and let me know. Let's talk together. Let's change together. That is absolutely all for today's episode. Take care of yourselves, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye bye.